Jake Morrison stood at his station on the bridge of the UES Defiance. The ship was huge, one of the newest vessels in Earth's space fleet. It had been traveling through deep space for 3 months now, exploring new star systems far from home. Jake was the communications officer, and his job was to keep the ship connected to Earth and other human vessels. Something was wrong with his equipment. For the past hour, he had been trying to reach Earth, but nothing came through his speakers. No voices, no data, no signals at all. Just empty silence where Earth's constant chatter should be. "Captain Rodriguez," Jake called out. "I'm having trouble with the communications array." Captain Maria Rodriguez walked over to Jake's station. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been commanding ships for 20 years and had never seen anything like this. "What kind of trouble?" she asked. "I can't reach Earth at all. No radio signals, no emergency channels, nothing. It's like Earth just stopped talking." Captain Rodriguez frowned. "Run a full diagnostic on the system." Jake's fingers moved quickly over his controls. Green lights showed that everything was working perfectly. The communication system was fine. The problem was not with their ship. "All systems are normal, Captain. The equipment is working perfectly." "Doctor," Lisa Bennett looked up from her science station. She was the ship's expert on alien life and had been studying signals from nearby star systems. "Captain, I'm picking up normal communications from the Centauri colonies. The Titan mining stations are also transmitting normally. It's only Earth that's gone quiet." Captain Rodriguez felt a cold sensation in her stomach. In all her years of service, Earth had never gone completely silent. The home planet was always busy with millions of transmissions every second. Radio signals, television broadcasts, military, communications, civilian chatter, emergency beacons. Earth never stopped talking. "Try the emergency frequencies," the captain ordered. Jake switched to the special channels used only for the most urgent messages. These frequencies were always monitored, always ready to carry news of disasters or threats. But even these channels were silent. "Nothing, Captain. Even the automated distress beacons are quiet." The bridge fell silent except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Every person there understood what this meant. Something terrible had happened to Earth. "Contact other ships in the fleet," Captain Rodriguez said. "Find out if they're experiencing the same problem." Jake sent messages to every human vessel he could reach. The answers came back quickly, and they were all the same. Earth had gone completely silent. No ship anywhere in space could contact the home planet. Captain Alex Turner of the merchant ship Horizon's Edge was the first to respond with a full report. His voice came through the speakers, tense and worried. "Defiance, this is Horizon's Edge. We've been trying to reach Earth for 2 hours. Nothing on any frequency. We've checked our equipment 3 times. Everything works fine, but Earth is not responding to anything." More reports came in from other ships. The exploration vessel New Frontier, the mining ship Asteroid Hunter, the passenger liner Star Voyager, all reported the same thing. Earth was silent. Dr. Bennett ran more tests on her equipment. "Captain, I'm detecting something strange. Earth's automated beacon systems have stopped transmitting too. The navigation beacons, the weather satellites, even the deep space monitoring stations, everything has gone quiet." Captain Rodriguez sat in her command chair trying to understand what could cause such total silence. Nuclear war might destroy cities, but it would not stop every single transmission across the entire planet. A solar storm might disrupt communications, but Earth's systems were designed to handle even the worst space weather. "Could it be an attack?" asked Lieutenant Danny Walsh, the ship's security officer. "By who?" Captain Rodriguez replied. "Earth has the strongest defenses in known space. Any enemy would have to fight through hundreds of orbital platforms and defense stations. We would have heard something." The captain was right. Earth's defenses were legendary throughout the galaxy. Massive space stations surrounded the planet, like a protective shell. Each station could destroy entire fleets of enemy ships. If someone was attacking Earth, the battle would be visible from light years away. "Maybe it's a technical problem," suggested Dr. Bennett. "Some kind of system-wide failure that knocked out all communications at once." Jake shook his head. "That's impossible. Earth's communication networks are completely separate from each Other. Military systems, civilian systems, emergency systems, they all use different technology. There's no single failure that could shut them all down. Hours passed with no change. The Defiance continued its journey through space while its crew tried desperately to understand what had happened to Earth. Other human ships reported the same confusion and fear. As the ship traveled deeper into space, Captain Rodriguez made a decision that would change everything. She ordered the Defiance to change course and head toward the nearest alien settlement. "We need to find out if anyone else knows what happened to Earth," she explained to her crew. The Zephyrian trading post at Wolf 359 might have information, but Captain Rodriguez did not know that across the galaxy, alien civilizations were already talking about Earth's silence, and what they were saying would have terrified every human in space. The aliens were not wondering what had happened to Earth. They thought they knew exactly what the silence meant, and they were preparing for war. Captain Danny Walsh wiped grease from his hands as he climbed out from under a mining drill. The Frontier Spirit had been working in the asteroid belt of the Kepler system for 4 months, far from any major shipping lanes or communication hubs. His crew of 200 miners and engineers had been focused on their work, barely paying attention to the wider galaxy. "Danny, you need to see this," called out Katie Murphy, the ship's chief engineer. She was standing at a monitoring station, her face pale with concern. Danny walked over to her station and looked at the displays. Numbers and charts filled the screens, showing various types of energy readings from across the galaxy. "What am I looking at, Katie?" Danny asked. "Military communications," Katie replied. "I've been tracking the usual chatter from alien fleets, just keeping an eye on things. But look at this." She pointed to a graph showing communication activity over the past week. The line had been steady for months, showing normal levels of military radio traffic. But 3 days ago, it had suddenly spiked upward and stayed there. "Every major alien fleet in the galaxy is talking to each other," Katie continued. "Emergency channels, high-priority military frequencies, even some coded transmissions I've never seen before. Something big is happening." Danny frowned as he studied the data. He had served in the Earth Defense Force before becoming a civilian miner, and he recognized the patterns. This was what military communications looked like when fleets were preparing for major operations. "Could be training exercises," Danny suggested. "The Velkari run big fleet exercises every few years." "I thought so too, but look at this." Katie brought up another screen. "These signals aren't coming from 1 or 2 fleets, they're coming from everywhere. Velkari, Hegemony, Trade Federation, even the crystal entities. Everyone is talking to everyone else." Danny felt a cold sensation in his stomach. In his military experience, there was only one thing that made all the galaxy's powers communicate with each other so urgently: a common threat. Dr. Pete Harrison, the ship's geology expert, joined them at the monitoring station. Pete had been a military intelligence analyst before switching to civilian mining work, and he understood the significance of what they were seeing. "I've been tracking gravitational wave detectors," Pete said quietly. "Ships moving through hyperspace create ripples that we can detect. The patterns I'm seeing, Danny, there are massive fleets moving toward the inner systems." "How massive?" Danny asked. "Bigger than anything in recorded history. I'm detecting fleet movements from every major species, and they're all heading in the same general direction." Pete brought up a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy on his tablet. Red dots showed the detected fleet movements, and Danny could see the pattern immediately. Every fleet was moving toward one specific region of space. "Where are they going?" Katie asked. Pete's voice was barely above a whisper when he answered. "The Sol system. They're all heading toward Earth." The 3 humans stared at the display in shocked silence. Earth was the center of human civilization, home to 8 billion people and the headquarters of Earth's space fleet. If alien fleets were converging on the Sol system, it could only mean one thing: war. But why would the entire galaxy suddenly unite against humanity? Earth had been at peace with all major alien powers for decades. There had been no major incidents, no diplomatic crises, no territorial disputes that could justify such a massive military response. "We need to contact Earth immediately," Danny said. "They need to know about this." Katie shook her head. "I've been trying to reach Earth for the past 2 days. No response on any frequency. Same with the other human colonies. It's like every human settlement in the inner systems has gone dark. Danny felt the situation becoming clearer, but in a terrifying way. Earth and the major human colonies were not responding to communications, while every alien power in the galaxy was mobilizing their fleets. Either humanity was preparing for war and maintaining communication silence, or something terrible had happened to the human homeworlds. "Get me Captain Rogers on the New Horizons," Danny ordered. If anyone knows what's going on, it would be Bill. The New Horizons was an exploration vessel that traveled between human settlements, carrying news and messages to isolated outposts like the Frontier Spirit. Captain Bill Rogers had been making these runs for 15 years and knew more about galactic affairs than most people. When Rogers appeared on the communication screen, his face was grim. "Danny, I was hoping you'd call. We've got a serious problem." "What's the situation, Bill?" "Near as I can tell, Earth went silent about a week ago. Complete communication blackout. No signals coming from Earth, Mars, the Jupiter stations, anywhere in the inner system. At first I thought it was equipment failure, but I've confirmed it with a dozen other ships." "And the alien fleets?" Danny asked. "That's the scary part. I've been monitoring alien communications and they're all talking about some kind of threat. They think Earth's silence means we're preparing for a major military operation." Pete leaned into the communication pickup. "Bill, this is Pete Harrison. I'm tracking massive fleet movements from every major alien power. They're all heading toward the Sol system." Captain Rogers nodded grimly. "I know. I've been trying to get there myself to warn Earth, but my ship's not fast enough. Those alien fleets will reach the Sol system long before I can." The terrible logic of the situation became clear to everyone on the Frontier Spirit. Earth's communication silence, combined with humanity's fearsome military reputation, had convinced the galaxy that humans were preparing for total war. The alien response was exactly what any rational civilization would do when faced with an existential threat: unite against the danger and strike first. "How many ships are we talking about?" Katie asked. "Conservative estimate, several thousand warships from over 50 different species. They're not just sending token forces, they're sending everything they have." Danny closed his eyes and tried to think. Earth's space defenses were powerful, but they were designed to handle attacks from one or maybe two hostile fleets. Against the combined might of the entire galaxy, even Earth's legendary defenses would be overwhelmed. "Bill, we need to do something. If those fleets reach Earth and find humans completely unprepared, it'll be a massacre." "I know, but what can we do? We're just a few civilian vessels scattered across the galaxy. We don't have the speed or firepower to make any difference." Security Chief Laura Stone aboard the diplomatic vessel. Peaceful Dawn had been monitoring the conversation from her ship's position near the alien trade hub at Vega. Her voice joined the discussion with urgent news. "Guys, I'm at Vega Station right now, and the situation is even worse than we thought. Human diplomats and traders throughout the galaxy are being detained. Not arrested, detained for their own protection. The aliens are convinced that war is coming and they're trying to keep humans safe from the violence they expect." "That confirms it," Pete said. "They really believe Earth is preparing for total galactic war." Danny made a decision that would determine the fate of both humanity and the galaxy. "We need to reach Earth before those fleets do. Even if we can't stop what's coming, we can at least warn people." But as the scattered human ships began changing course toward the Sol system, none of them realized that the truth behind Earth's silence was both more innocent and more dangerous than anyone could imagine. Communications Officer Steve Baker felt his heart racing as he sent urgent messages to every human vessel his equipment could reach. The news he had to share would change everything, but he had to make sure every human in space understood the danger they faced. "This is the merchant vessel Rising Star to all human ships in range," Steve broadcast. "Priority Alpha emergency message. Massive alien coalition fleet detected approaching Sol system. Estimated strength: over 2,000 warships from multiple species. Estimated time to Earth 72 hours. The responses came back immediately, each one filled with shock and fear. Captain after captain confirmed they had detected the same massive fleet movements. Dr. Amy Fisher, a specialist in alien behavior aboard the research ship Ocean's Edge, provided the most chilling analysis. The psychological profile is clear, Dr. Fisher explained during an emergency conference call between 20 human ships. Every major alien civilization has concluded that Earth's communication silence indicates preparation for total galactic war. They're not attacking out of aggression. They genuinely believe we're about to commit genocide against all non-human life. Captain Rick Taylor of the battlecruiser Vengeance was the highest-ranking military officer among the scattered human fleet. His ship was one of only 3 combat vessels outside the Sol system, and all 3 combined would be no match for the approaching alien armada. "We have to warn Earth," Captain Taylor declared. "Even if we can't fight this fleet, Earth needs to know it's coming." "Rick, think about this logically," replied Commander Beth Morgan from the diplomatic vessel Starlight. "If we race toward Earth at maximum speed, sending emergency broadcasts about an incoming alien fleet, what will Earth's response be?" Captain Taylor was quiet for a moment before he answered. "They'll mobilize every defense platform, recall every patrol ship, and prepare for the biggest battle in human history." "Exactly. And when the alien fleet arrives to find Earth's entire military force ready for battle, what will they conclude?" The horrible logic was clear to everyone listening. Earth's military preparations would confirm the aliens' worst fears about human intentions. Instead of preventing a battle, warning. Earth might guarantee that it would happen, but not warning Earth might be even worse. If the alien fleet arrived to find Earth's population and defenses completely unprepared, the resulting conflict could destroy humanity's homeworld before anyone understood what was really happening. The scattered human ships faced an impossible choice, and they had less than 3 days to make it. Dr. Amy Fisher studied the data streaming in from multiple sources. As a xenopsychologist, she understood alien thinking better than most humans. The picture emerging from her analysis was terrifying in its logical consistency. "Look at this from their perspective," she explained to the other ship commanders. "Humans have the most feared military in the galaxy. Our total war doctrine has never been defeated. We build weapons capable of destroying planets. We never retreat, never surrender, and never show mercy to enemies." She brought up historical records on her ship's communication system, sharing them with the other vessels. Now Earth goes completely silent. No communications, no normal activity, just silence. In alien experience, this has only happened 23 times in recorded galactic history. Every single time, it preceded an extermination campaign. Every species that went silent like this was preparing to destroy all life around them. Captain Taylor interrupted. "But that's not what's happening. Earth's silence has to be some kind of accident or technical failure." "Of course it is. But the aliens don't know that. From their viewpoint, the most dangerous military force in the galaxy has suddenly gone quiet while maintaining normal activity everywhere else. To them, this looks like humanity is preparing to eliminate all competition for galactic dominance." "Commander," Morgan added her own analysis. "I've been monitoring alien communications for the past day. They're not talking about conquest or territory. They're talking about survival. Every message I've intercepted uses words that translate to defensive action and species preservation. They think they're fighting for their lives." The weight of the situation settled on everyone involved. This was not a war based on hatred or greed. It was a preventive strike by civilizations that genuinely believed humanity was about to commit galaxy-wide genocide. Meanwhile, the alien coalition fleet continued its approach to the Sol system. Admiral Zeth Carr stood on the command bridge of the Velkari flagship Eternal Vigilance, studying tactical displays that showed the positions of over 2,000 Allied warships. "All fleet commanders report ready for Phase 1 operations," announced his communications officer. Admiral Zethkar nodded grimly. Phase 1 was the plan to neutralize Earth's orbital defenses before they could be fully activated. Intelligence suggested that Earth's defensive grid was the most powerful ever constructed, capable of destroying entire fleets if allowed to operate at full capacity. "Signal all ships to maintain formation. We strike Earth's defenses simultaneously from all vectors. If we give the humans time to coordinate their response, we may not be able to penetrate their defense grid." The alien fleet had been carefully planned to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers and coordinated attack patterns. Every ship knew its target. Every weapon system had been calibrated. Every possible human response had been analyzed and countered. But the aliens were preparing to fight an enemy that did not exist. Earth's defenses were not preparing for galactic conquest. Earth's population was not mobilizing for total war. Earth's silence was not the calm before a storm of violence. Earth's silence was the result of a cascading technical failure that had knocked out every communication satellite and relay station in the system. The planet's 8 billion inhabitants had no idea that the galaxy considered them an existential threat. Dr. Tony Clark, a systems analyst aboard the exploration vessel Deep Horizon, made a discovery that explained everything. While monitoring the Sol system from long range, his sensors detected the faint signature of a massive electromagnetic pulse centered on Earth's solar monitoring network. "I think I know what happened," Dr. Clark announced during an emergency conference of human ship commanders. 3 days ago, there was a solar storm monitoring satellite that suffered a complete system failure. But instead of just shutting down, it created a feedback loop in Earth's communication grid. He transmitted his sensor data to the other ships. The readings showed exactly what had happened. A chain reaction of overloaded systems that cascaded through Earth's entire communication infrastructure. Every relay station, every satellite, every communication hub in the Sol system was overloaded and destroyed in a matter of hours. Earth isn't maintaining communication silence as a military strategy. They literally cannot communicate with the outside galaxy. The irony was devastating. Earth's accidental silence had convinced the galaxy that humanity was preparing for total war. The galaxy's defensive response looked to humans like an unprovoked attack. Both sides were preparing to fight an enemy that existed only in their own fears. Captain Chris Adams of the science vessel Discovery made the decision that would determine whether the misunderstanding led to galaxy-wide destruction or peaceful resolution. "I'm going to broadcast the truth on all frequencies," he announced. "Every alien language, every communication channel, everything we know about what really happened to Earth." "Chris, that's suicide," Captain Taylor warned. "If you broadcast our position and intentions to that fleet, they'll destroy you before you can finish the message." Captain Adams looked at the tactical display showing the massive alien fleet approaching Earth. In 60 hours, 2,000 warships would engage Earth's defenses in a battle that neither side wanted or understood. "Maybe, but if I don't try, everyone dies anyway." Captain Chris Adams took a deep breath as he prepared to broadcast what might be the most important message in galactic history. The science vessel Discovery was still 2 days away from the Sol system, but it was close enough to reach the approaching alien fleet with its powerful communication array. "This is Captain Chris Adams of the Earth vessel Discovery, broadcasting on all frequencies to the approaching coalition fleet," he began. "I am transmitting in 47 different languages to ensure this message reaches every ship in your formation." His hands were shaking as he continued. Earth's communication silence was not intentional. Repeat. Earth's silence was not a preparation for war. 3 days ago, a technical malfunction in our solar monitoring system created a cascade failure that destroyed every communication relay in the Sol system. Adams transmitted all the sensor data his ship had collected, showing exactly what had happened to Earth's communication grid. The electromagnetic pulse signatures, the timing of the failures, the technical specifications of the damaged systems. Everything that proved Earth's silence was accidental. Earth's population has no knowledge of your approach. They have no knowledge of galactic fears about human intentions. They are not preparing for war because they do not know that war is coming. Admiral Zethkar received the transmission on the bridge of the Eternal Vigilance. Around him, his senior officers listened to the human's message with expressions of shock and confusion. "Could this be true?" asked his tactical officer. Admiral Zethkar studied the technical data that accompanied the message. The electromagnetic signatures matched exactly what would be expected from a cascade failure in Earth's communication network. The timing was consistent with observed events. The explanation was both more mundane and more believable than any military deception. "If this is accurate, then we may be approaching Earth to fight an enemy that does not exist," the admiral said quietly. But decades of military training made him cautious. However, this could also be an elaborate deception designed to make us lower our defenses, continue approach but signal all fleet commanders to review this data. Across the coalition fleet, similar conversations were taking place. Species that had been enemies for centuries found themselves debating whether to trust the word of humans, the very species they feared most. On Earth, 8 billion people went about their daily lives with no idea that their fate hung in the balance. The planet's communication systems remained completely inoperative. Earth's government could not contact its space fleet, could not monitor galactic events, could not even send distress signals. Admiral Grace Williams commanded Earth's outer defense, grid from the space station Fortress Prime. She was the highest-ranking human military officer in the Sol system, but she had no idea that the largest military force in galactic history was approaching her defenses. Status report from all defense platforms, Admiral Williams requested during her routine morning briefing. All platforms operating normally, Admiral. No threats detected in any sector. Long-range sensors show normal commercial traffic patterns. Admiral. Williams nodded. It had been a quiet week with no sign of unusual activity. If she had known that over 2,000 alien warships were less than a day away from her position, she would have activated every defense system in the Sol system and called for immediate reinforcements. Captain Adams continued his desperate broadcast as the Discovery raced toward the Sol system. I am transmitting our complete sensor logs of the Sol system. You will see that Earth's defensive platforms are operating in normal peacetime configuration. There are no signs of military mobilization, no unusual ship movements, no preparations for offensive operations. The data package he transmitted included detailed scans of Earth's orbital space. Every defense platform, every patrol ship, every space station was clearly visible and operating in standard peacetime modes. Dr. Amy Fisher, monitoring the situation from the research vessel Ocean's Edge, provided additional analysis. Coalition. Fleet commanders, this is Dr. Amy Fisher, xenopsychologist specializing in human-alien relations. I have spent my career studying both human and alien military patterns. The evidence clearly shows that Earth is not preparing for any military operation. She transmitted her own analysis of Earth's orbital activities. Human military doctrine requires massive logistical preparation for major operations. Supply ships, troop transports, communication networks, forward bases. None of these preparations are visible around Earth. If humans were planning galactic conquest, you would see clear evidence of military buildup. Admiral Zethkar found himself facing the most difficult decision of his career. The evidence suggested that the coalition fleet was approaching Earth to fight an enemy that existed only in galactic fears. But if the humans were lying, if this was an elaborate deception, then lowering the fleet's guard could result in the destruction of every intelligent species in the galaxy. Signal all fleet commanders for emergency conference, he ordered. Within minutes, holographic images of over 50 alien commanders filled the Eternal Vigilance's command center. Species that had been enemies for millennia now worked together, united by their fear of human capabilities. Commanders, you have all reviewed the human transmissions. Admiral Zethkar began. I need your assessment of the situation. General Kekstar of the Hegemony spoke first. The technical data appears genuine. Our experts confirm that the electromagnetic signatures match what we would expect from a cascade communication failure. But could this be deception? Asked Admiral Veltar of the Zephyrian fleet. It could be, replied Commander Zarketh of the Crystal Entities. Humans are known for elaborate strategic deceptions. However, the level of technical detail required for this deception would be extraordinary. The debate continued for precious minutes while the fleet approached the Sol system. Some commanders argued for immediate attack, based on the original assessment of the threat. Others suggested that the new evidence required a complete re-evaluation of their mission. Admiral Grace Williams finally received indication that something was wrong when her long-range sensors detected massive gravitational disturbances approaching the Sol system. The readings were so large that her first assumption was equipment malfunction. Recalibrate all sensors and run diagnostics, she ordered. But the diagnostics confirmed what the sensors were reporting. Thousands of large objects moving through hyperspace toward the Sol system. The gravitational signatures were consistent, with the largest military fleet ever assembled. "Admiral, we're detecting incoming fleet signatures," reported her sensor officer. "Estimate over 2,000 vessels, mixed configurations, approaching from multiple vectors." Admiral Williams felt her blood turn cold. 2,000 ships could only mean one thing. Every major power in the galaxy was attacking Earth simultaneously. Activate all defense platforms. Signal general quarters throughout the system. Send emergency transmissions to all patrol fleets. Wait. She stopped herself, remembering that Earth's communication systems were not working. "We can't warn anyone. We can't call for help. We can't even ask them what they want." Earth's defenses began powering up their weapon systems, preparing for the largest battle in human history. But they were preparing to fight an enemy that might not want to fight at all. Admiral Zethkar watched his sensors as Earth's defense platforms came online. To his experienced eye, the activation pattern looked exactly like a military force preparing to defend against attack, not a civilization preparing to launch galactic conquest. "Signal all ships," he ordered. "Reduce speed and maintain distance. From Earth's defense perimeter, we will attempt direct communication with Earth's military forces before taking any hostile action." Captain Adams received confirmation that his message had been received when the alien fleet's approach pattern changed. Instead of attacking immediately, the ships were taking defensive positions outside Earth's weapon range. "This is Admiral Zethkar of the Coalition Defense Fleet to Earth Military Command," came the transmission on multiple frequencies. "We have received information suggesting that Earth's communication silence was unintentional. We request immediate confirmation of your intentions regarding galactic security." But Earth's communication systems remained silent. Admiral Williams could receive the alien transmission, but she had no way to respond. From the alien perspective, Earth was still maintaining threatening silence even when directly questioned. The fate of both civilizations now depended on whether fear and misunderstanding would triumph over evidence and reason. In the next few hours, the galaxy would discover whether two peaceful civilizations could avoid destroying each other, based on nothing more than fear and miscommunication. Admiral Zethkar of the Velkari High Council stood before a massive holographic display showing the galaxy. His reptilian features were tense with worry as he pointed to a small yellow star in one corner of the map. "Earth has gone silent," he announced to the gathered council members. "Complete communication blackout. No signals of any kind for the past 6 hours." The council chamber erupted in worried discussions. The Velkari were an ancient race that had survived for thousands of years by being very careful about threats. They kept detailed records of every species they had ever encountered. Council member Velisha, an elderly female with scarred scales, spoke first. "In our recorded history, we have documented this phenomenon 23 times. 23 species have gone completely silent in all communications." "And what happened to those species?" asked a younger council member. "They all launched campaigns of total extermination within days of going silent," Admiral Zethkar replied grimly. "Every single one. They went quiet to prepare for war, then struck without warning to destroy all life around them." The holographic display changed to show images of dead worlds. Planets that had once been green and alive now appeared as lifeless rocks floating in space. These were the results of the 23 silent species. "The humans are different from any species we have encountered," continued Admiral Zethkar. "They are the most dangerous warriors we have ever seen. Their concept of total war shocked even the Kregan Empire into surrendering." Councilmember Velisha nodded slowly. She had been present during the Proxima border wars when humanity first showed the galaxy what human warfare looked like. Memory still gave her nightmares. "I remember the reports from Proxima," she said. "The humans did not just defeat their enemies. They destroyed every military installation, every government building, every piece of infrastructure that could be used for war. They left their enemies alive but completely unable to fight back. And they did it in just 6 months," added another council member. 6 months to completely defeat a civilization that had been fighting wars for 2,000 years. The discussion continued for hours, but the conclusion was always the same. Earth's silence could only mean one thing. Humanity was preparing to wage war against the entire galaxy. Meanwhile, at Kepler Station, a joint research facility shared by humans and aliens, Commander Ray Phillips noticed that something had changed. The alien scientists and workers who had been friendly just days before now avoided eye contact. They spoke in whispers when humans walked by. Dr. Nina Carter, the station's chief engineer, found herself locked out of computer systems she had helped design. When she asked her alien colleague Zartel about it, the insectoid scientist could barely look at her. "It is for security," Zartel said quietly. "Temporary security measures while we upgrade the systems." But Nina could see fear in Zartel's compound eyes. She had worked with the alien for 3 years and had never seen him afraid before. Across the galaxy, the news of Earth's silence spread through communication networks faster than light itself. Species that had never worried about humans before suddenly remembered every story they had heard about human violence. The hegemony of 5 suns, a military alliance of 5 powerful species, called an emergency meeting. General Kextar, a massive being with 4 arms and natural armor, addressed the assembly. "The humans have been quiet for too long," he declared. "Their merchant ships still travel our trade routes, their diplomats still attend our meetings, but their home world has gone dark. This is the pattern we have seen before." General Kextar brought up holographic records of the 23 extinct species. Each had followed the same pattern: normal activity throughout their territory, then sudden silence from their home world, then total war against all neighbors. "The Velkari records show it clearly," continued General Kextar. "Species go silent to hide their preparations. They continue normal activities to avoid suspicion. Then, they strike everywhere at once with overwhelming force." The Galactic Trade Federation held its own emergency session. Thousands of species belonged to the Federation, and all of them were worried about the same thing. Ambassador Veltar of the peaceful Zephyrian Collective stood before the massive assembly. His species had never fought a war, but even they understood the danger. "Friends, we face a threat unlike any in recorded history," Veltar said. "The humans are not like other species. They do not fight for territory or resources. They fight to win completely. If they have decided to eliminate all other life in the galaxy, they have the power to do it." The assembly listened in frightened silence as Veltar continued. "Human military doctrine is based on something they call total war. They do not seek to defeat enemies. They seek to make it impossible for enemies to ever fight again. If they turn this concept against all of us, we will not survive." Video records played throughout the chamber, showing human military actions from the past century. The Proxima border wars, the Titan rebellion, the corporate wars. In every conflict, humans had shown a level of ruthless efficiency that terrified other species. "Look at their weapons," Veltar pointed to images on the screen. "They do not build weapons to defend themselves. They build weapons to destroy entire civilizations. Their battleships can crack planets. Their bombs can sterilize continents. Their soldiers never retreat, never surrender, never show mercy to enemies." Fear spread through the galaxy like a disease. Species that had been allies of humanity for generations suddenly saw humans as potential exterminators. Human traders found themselves unwelcome at alien ports. Human diplomats discovered that meetings were being canceled or moved to locations without human representatives. Even the peaceful species began to prepare for war. The crystal entities, who had hidden in dimensional pockets for millennia, began to emerge and fortify their territories. The sage builders, who had spent centuries creating beautiful works of art, started building weapons instead. Ancient defense treaties were activated across the galaxy. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years suddenly became allies against the human threat. Military fleets that had been retired were brought back into service. Weapons that had been banned by galactic law were quietly manufactured and deployed. The fear was not based on hatred or jealousy. It was based on cold logical analysis of human capabilities and behavior. Every alien leader who studied the records came to the same conclusion. If humanity decided to eliminate all other intelligent life, they probably could do it, and Earth's silence seemed to prove that humanity had made exactly that decision. Unknown. To the panicking galaxy, the real reason for Earth's silence was far more mundane than anyone imagined.